All right, ready to dive in? Today, it's all about those sales qualified leads, those sequels we hear so much about in sales and marketing.
Definitely a hot topic.
You shared this super interesting article, Understanding Sales Qualified Leads from Reach Marketing, published just today, January 30th, 2025.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I gotta say, I'm already hooked just from the title. It's like, how do you pinpoint those customers who are, practically ready to buy?
It's like finding a needle in a haystack, right? But this article gives some great strategies for doing just that.
Okay, so first things first. What exactly a sales qualified lead? Is it just anyone who stumbles across your website, or is there more to it?
There's definitely more to it. It's not just about casual browsers. A sales qualified lead and SQL has been vetted, meaning you've looked at their info, their behavior, and you can see they're actually ready for a sales conversation.
So it's not just about having their email. It's about knowing they might actually be a good fit for what you're selling.
Exactly. Like if you're selling, say, enterprise software to huge companies, a college student who downloaded a free guide, they're probably not your target customer.
Right, makes sense. So how do we separate those casual visitors from the ones who are, primed to buy? The article mentioned something called marketing qualified leads, MQLs, right? How do those fit in?
MQLs are like that initial step. They've shown some interest. Maybe they downloaded something, joined a webinar, or signed up for your newsletter. But sequels go a step further. They're engaging in a way that screams, hey, I'm seriously thinking about buying.
Ah, okay, I'm starting to see the difference. So an MQL might be just testing the waters, while an SQL is like ready to jump in.
You got it. And this article has this super helpful table that breaks it down even further. Like an MQL might download a white paper, but in SQL requests a demo or asks for pricing.
Oh, I like that. So it's not just what they do, it's the intention behind it. Okay,
Yeah.
so why is all this SQL stuff such a big deal? Why focus on them specifically?
Think about it. Your sales team has limited time, right? They want to spend that time talking to the people most likely to actually buy. This article makes a strong case for how focusing on sequels can really boost your sales efforts.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. And the results speak for themselves. The article mentions a case study where a company shifted their focus to sequels and bam, their conversion rate shot up 30%, meaning for every 100 sequels, 30 became paying customers.
Wow, that's impressive.
Hmm.
Okay, let's say I'm running a business and I want to start spotting these high potential leads. What should I be looking for? Any telltale signs?
Definitely. There are demographic clues and behavioral clues, so both are important.
Okay, let's start with demographics. What kind of things should we be paying attention to?
Think about your perfect customer. What industry are they in? What's their job title? How big is their company? Like if you're selling, let's say, marketing software, a marketing director at a medium-sized company, that could be a good fit.
So aligning those leads with your target market makes sense. But what about the behavioral stuff? How do we know someone's actually interested in what we're selling?
Okay, here's where it gets interesting. Look at how they interact with your brand. Are they visiting key pages on your website, like pricing or product demos? Are they opening emails, clicking through? Are they engaging with you on social media?
So it's not just about browsing, it's about actively digging deeper into what you offer.
Right. And a big one for sequels, they show sustained engagement. They don't just visit once and disappear. They come back, they consume your content, they're genuinely interested.
Okay, we're looking for the right demographics and the right behaviors. Any specific actions that are like a dead giveaway that someone's in a sequel?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Look for things like questions about pricing, if they start discussing budgets or if they mention when they're looking to buy.
Ah, so someone downloading a white paper is one thing, but someone asking, what's the cost and when can I get started? That's a whole different ballgame.
Exactly. Those are the signals that say, hey, this person is seriously considering a purchase.
This is making a lot of sense. We've talked about what sequels are, how to spot them, but how do we actually put this knowledge into practice? Are we supposed to manually track all this stuff?
Luckily, no. There are some great tools out there to help us. This article focuses on CRM systems and lead scoring models. Have you used those before?
Um, I've heard the terms, but honestly, not really sure how they work in practice.
Well, a CRM system is like your central hub for everything related to your leads, keeps track of interactions, manages all the data, even automates stuff like follow-up emails.
So instead of sticky notes and spreadsheets everywhere, we can have it all neat and tidy in one place.
Exactly. And that's where lead scoring comes in. Imagine giving points to leads based on what they do. Downloading a white paper, maybe 5 points. Attending a webinar, 10 points. Requesting a demo, 20 points.
So the more engaged they are, the higher their score climbs.
Right. And then you can set a threshold, say 50 points, and anyone above that, boom, they're flagged as in SQL. No more guessing games. Your sales team can focus on the hottest prospects.
That's seriously efficient. Like having a system that sorts your leads based on their likelihood to buy.
Exactly. Working smarter, not harder, remember.
Okay, so we found these valuable sequels. We've carefully nurtured them with targeted content, personalized messages. Now, how do we actually turn them into happy paying customers? What's the next step?
This is where the real magic happens, turning a qualified lead into a loyal customer. And it's more than just tossing them to the sales team and hoping for the best. You got to create a smooth, personalized experience that guides them toward making that purchase. This article talks about how important personalization, timely follow-ups, and multi-channel outreach are.
Okay, let's break that down. What does personalization actually mean in this context?
It means using all the information you've gathered to tailor your communication to each individual SQL. Remember those demographic and behavioral clues we talked about? That data is pure gold. Use it to create groups of similar SQLs and craft messages that speak to their unique needs and interests.
So instead of sending out generic, one-size-fits-all emails, we're making our messages super relevant to them, speaking directly to their pain points of what they want to achieve.
Exactly. For example, if you know someone is interested in a particular feature, highlight that feature and its benefits. You're showing them you get them. You're not just trying to make a quick sale.
It's about building a relationship, not just a transaction.
You got it. And timing matters. When someone becomes in SQL, don't wait. Reach out right away, show them you're on top of things, and give them the information they need to move forward.
So no letting them sit in our inbox for weeks while they lose interest.
Exactly. And don't limit yourself to email. Pick up the phone, connect on LinkedIn, even send a personalized direct message.
So we're meeting them where they are, making it easy to connect with us. But all of this, it sounds like a lot for one team to manage. Where does marketing stop and sales start? Seems like a lot of overlap.
Great point. This article really emphasizes that sales and marketing teams need to be in sync. It's not just about shared goals, it's about working together so that everyone's focused on the same objective, turning those SQLs into happy paying customers. What do you think about that?
Yeah, if those teams aren't on the same page, things could get messy. Imagine marketing getting tons of leads, but sales thinks they're all unqualified, or sales closing deals and marketing having no clue which campaigns are working. It feels like everyone needs to be singing from the same song sheet.
Absolutely. It all starts with agreeing on what a qualified lead actually looks like for your specific business. If sales and marketing have different ideas, it's a recipe for disaster.
So before we even start talking tactics and tools, we need to make sure everyone's on the same page about what in SQL is for us.
Exactly. That shared definition is the foundation of a winning SQL strategy.
Okay, so we've got that definition nailed down. What are some ways sales and marketing can actually work together smoothly?
Communication is key. Regular meetings between the teams are essential. Talk about lead quality, share feedback, brainstorm ideas, and shared dashboards can be really powerful. If everyone's seeing the same data and tracking progress together, it creates a sense of ownership and accountability.
It's like having a mission control where everyone's looking at the big picture and working towards the same goal.
Exactly. And think about designing campaigns where marketing directly supports sales goals. Maybe marketing creates content that answers the exact questions and concerns sales is hearing from SQLs.
It's like marketing providing air support while sales is on the ground, making those deals happen.
Love that analogy. When those two teams work in harmony, it's like a symphony, and everyone benefits, especially the customer.
It's a win-win all around. But how do we know if all this effort is actually working? How do we measure how effective our SQL strategies are? We can't just go by gut feeling, right?
Absolutely not. You need data. The article talks about tracking important metrics to see how well those SQL initiatives are doing. Think about conversion rates. What percentage of your SQLs actually become customers? And then there's the sales cycle length. How long does it take to close a deal?
So we're not just looking at how many SQLs we get, but how well we're moving them through the pipeline and turning them into paying customers.
Precisely. And don't forget about the cost of acquiring a customer, often called CAC. That tells you how much you're spending on average to get each new customer. And then there's the lifetime value of a customer, or LTV, which is the total revenue you expect to make from a customer during their entire relationship with your company.
So we're not just thinking about the immediate cost, but also the long-term value they bring.
Exactly. By keeping a close eye on these metrics, you can spot bottlenecks, find areas that need improvement, and make smart decisions based on data to refine your approach.
It's like having a dashboard for your whole sales process. You can see what's working, what's not, and make adjustments as needed. So we get all this data, we analyze it, we make tweaks. Is that the end of it? Do we just set and then forget it?
Not quite. The article emphasizes feedback loops. Remember, refining your SQL criteria is an ongoing process.
So it's not a one-and-done deal. We need to constantly assess and adjust our approach. But who's giving us this feedback?
Your sales and marketing teams. Encourage them to share their observations and insights. What's going well? What challenges are they running into? What tweaks could make the process even better? By always seeking feedback from the front lines and making changes based on what you learn, you ensure that your SQL strategy stays fresh and effective.
So it's a never-ending cycle of learning and getting better, always trying to find that perfect balance.
Exactly. And that brings us to another key point the article makes, using automation strategically.
Automation.
Mhm.
A word that could be both exciting and a little scary. What's the secret to finding that sweet spot? How do we know what to automate and what should stay human-powered?
The article really hits the mark when it says it's not about automating everything, it's about automating the right things.
Okay, now I'm really interested. What are the right things when we're talking about sequels?
Think about those tasks that are just, repetitive and time-consuming, a bit boring, honestly, like sending follow-up emails, scheduling meetings, or even personalizing messages based on what a lead is doing on your site.
So it's like freeing up our human brains to do this stuff robots can't away. The relationship building, the creative campaigns, the deep conversations that close deals.
Exactly. Let the machines handle the heavy lifting, the stuff that can really bog us down, so your team can focus on those high-impact things that make a real difference.
It's like having a whole team of tireless assistants working 24/7 so your human team can shine. But I can imagine this automation thing being a bit scary, especially for smaller companies. Where do they even begin?
Start simple. Focus on where automation can make the biggest, most immediate impact. The article points to email marketing as a good example. There are tons of affordable tools out there that can automate welcome emails, nurture leads with content that fits their interests, even personalize messages based on their behavior. It's like having a personal assistant for each lead without breaking the bank.
Like taking those personalized messages we talked about and putting them on autopilot. You set it up once, and it just works its magic, nurturing those connections while you focus on other things.
Exactly. And as you grow, you can scale up the automation. Maybe you start with basic emails, then move on to more sophisticated systems that handle things like lead scoring or even sales forecasting. It's a journey, not a sprint.
This is all super helpful. But
Yeah.
before we get carried away talking about robots taking over, let's not forget about the human side of things. You can't automate empathy or intuition, right? Those are human skills. And they're still super important in building real customer relationships.
Absolutely. Automation's a powerful tool, but it's not a substitute for that human connection. It's about finding that balance where tech enhances our efforts, not replaces them.
So finding that sweet spot between efficiency and genuine human interaction.
Exactly. And it circles back to why it's so important for sales and marketing to be aligned. When those teams are in sync and they've got the right automation tools in place, it's like watching a perfectly choreographed dance. Everything just flows.
They become this unstoppable force, moving leads through the process and converting them into loyal customers. But being realistic, achieving that level of alignment sounds great in theory. How do companies actually make it happen, especially if they're starting from scratch?
That's where leadership comes in. The article touches on it briefly, but it's really important. It starts at the top, with clear expectations and a real commitment to collaboration. Leaders need to lead the charge, provide the resources, create a culture where feedback is valued and actually used to make things better. It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
It's about showing everyone that collaboration isn't just a buzzword. It's a core value, how they do things.
Exactly. And it's not like flipping a switch. It takes time, effort, a willingness to try things out and learn, but the payoff is worth it.
So for those listening who are ready to take action, what are some concrete steps they can take to start making these changes? What's the first step?
First, don't underestimate a good CRM system. It's like the backbone of how you manage your leads. This article gets into the details, but I'd add that you need a system that actually fits your needs and makes sure everyone on your team knows how to use it properly.
Like that saying, a bad workman blames his tools. You can have the fanciest CRM, but if your team doesn't know how to use it, it's not going to be very helpful.
Totally. And don't be afraid to try out those lead scoring models we talked about. They can really help automate that qualifying process, free up your team's time. But remember, feedback loops, make them part of your routine. Regular meetings between sales and marketing create a space where people feel comfortable sharing what's working and what's not. Be open to adjusting based on what you learn.
It's like constantly checking the pulse of your SQL strategy, making sure things are running smoothly and tweaking as needed.
Exactly. And don't forget about personalization. We've talked about it a lot, but it's super important. Use the data you have, tailor your messages, really understand what your leads need, and show them you're not just there to make a sale, you're there to help them achieve their goals.
It's about building relationships. And that starts with treating each lead as an individual, understanding their specific needs and challenges.
Perfectly said. And above all, don't be afraid to experiment. There's no one magic formula for managing SQLs. Try different approaches, track your results, and see what works best for your business. The key is to be constantly learning and getting better.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
Always refining and improving.
Exactly. And it's a journey we're all on together. So to everyone listening, embrace the world of SQLs, but think about the big picture. Don't be afraid to question assumptions, try new things, and never stop learning.
What I'm taking away from this is that it's not just about the tech or the tactics. It's about creating a culture where teams work together, they're always learning and improving, and they're genuinely focused on the customer.
Well said. And remember, the businesses that really succeed, they prioritize those things. If you keep those principles in mind, you'll be on the path to achieving amazing things.
It's a good reminder that even when we're talking about sales and marketing, where data and numbers can seem like everything, that human connection, that's still at the heart of it all.
Couldn't agree more. Now, we've covered a lot, but there's one more gem in this article I want to share. It's about understanding how to measure whether your SQL efforts are actually working.
Oh, I'm definitely interested. We talked about some key metrics earlier, but are there any other insights we should be aware of?
The article goes into something called a sales funnel, which is a visual way to look at the customer's journey from the moment they become aware of you all the way to closing a sale. And there are some cool ways to track your SQL progress through each stage of that funnel.
Okay, so it's like a roadmap of the whole customer journey. But how do we actually use this sales funnel to see if our SQL strategy is effective?
Think of the funnel as having different stages, like awareness, interest, consideration, and decision. At each stage, you can track how many SQLs are moving through, where they're dropping off, and how many are reaching that final closed deal stage.
So we're not just looking at the final number of conversions. We're trying to understand where the roadblocks are in our process and how we can make each stage better.
Exactly. For example, you might notice that you're getting tons of SQLs at the top of the funnel, but they're dropping off during the consideration stage. Maybe your content isn't hitting the mark, or your sales team isn't following up quickly enough.
So it's like a diagnostic tool helping us zero in on those areas that need attention.
Exactly. By watching how your SQLs move through each stage of the funnel, you can find those leaks, plug them up, and ultimately create a more efficient and successful sales process.
This is really helpful. It's like having X-ray vision into our whole sales process, seeing what's working, what's not, and where those opportunities are.
Exactly. And remember those feedback loops, they're crucial here too. Your sales team is right there on the front lines, interacting with those SQLs every day, and they're getting valuable insights into what those leads need, what their challenges are, and how they make decisions.
So we need to tap into that knowledge, that firsthand experience, and use it to refine our approach.
You got it. And that brings us to another important point from the article, the idea of lead nurturing.
We've mentioned it before, but can you talk more about what lead nurturing actually looks like and how it ties in with SQLs?
Lead nurturing is all about building relationships with your leads, giving them helpful information, and guiding them through their buying journey, even if they're not quite ready to buy just yet. This is especially crucial for SQLs because they've already shown they're more interested and more likely to buy.
So it's not just about closing the deal as fast as possible. It's about investing in those relationships, understanding their needs, and building trust over time.
Exactly. It's like planting a seed and carefully tending to it until it's ready to bloom.
Yeah.
You don't expect a seed to turn into a flower overnight, right? You need to give it the right environment, nourishment, care.
And it's the same with our SQLs. We need to nurture them, teach them, build those strong relationships that will hopefully lead to them becoming loyal customers.
Exactly. And the article offers some great tips on how to effectively nurture SQLs.
I'm all ears. What kind of strategies does it recommend?
One big takeaway is the importance of creating targeted content that speaks directly to the needs and challenges your SQLs are facing.
So instead of just sending generic newsletters or product updates, we're creating messages that are really relevant to them, addressing their pain points and what they're hoping to achieve.
Exactly. It's about providing valuable information that helps them make smart decisions, even if it's not directly about your product or service. For example, let's say you're selling marketing automation software. You could share articles on email marketing best practices or lead generation tips.
So it's like positioning yourself as a helpful expert, a trusted source of information, not just someone trying to make a sale.
Exactly. By giving them value upfront, you build trust and credibility, which can lead to much stronger, longer-lasting customer relationships.
This all makes perfect sense. It's about shifting our mindset from selling to helping. We're not just trying to close deals, we're trying to partner with our customers, helping them reach their goals and overcome obstacles.
Couldn't have said it better. And the article really drives home the point that effective lead nurturing requires a deep understanding of who your ideal customer is.
So it's not just about having a list of names and emails. It's about really knowing those people, understanding what motivates them, anticipating what they need.
Exactly. That's where those buyer personas we talked about earlier come in. By creating detailed profiles of our ideal customers, we can build personalized, nurturing campaigns that really hit the mark.
It's like having a secret weapon, a roadmap to building those strong, lasting relationships.
You got it. And don't forget, nurturing leads is an ongoing process, not just a one-time thing. It's about consistently delivering value, staying top of mind, being there for your leads when they're ready to make a move.
So it's like an ongoing conversation, a back and forth that unfolds over time, building trust and nurturing that relationship along the way.
Exactly. The article even gives some practical tips on how to weave lead nurturing into your overall SQL strategy.
I'm definitely curious about that. What kind of tactical advice does it offer?
One key recommendation is to use a mix of channels for your nurturing efforts. Don't rely solely on email. Explore other avenues like social media, webinars, even personalized direct mail.
So we're meeting our leads where they are, using different channels to make the experience more engaging and personalized.
Precisely. And remember those automation tools we talked about. They can really help streamline your nurturing efforts. For instance, you can use email automation to send targeted messages based on what a lead is doing or where they are in their buying journey. You can even use social media automation to personalize your interactions and stay top of mind.
So it's about finding those clever ways to use technology to enhance our human touch, not replace it.
Exactly. And the article stresses the importance of tracking your results and making adjustments along the way. Just like with any marketing efforts, you need to measure your success and be willing to try new things to see what works best for your business.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. It's about constantly evaluating, refining, and getting better.
Exactly. And by weaving these lead nurturing strategies into your SQL plan, you can turn those qualified leads into loyal, enthusiastic customers who love your brand.
It's about building relationships that go beyond just one transaction. It's about creating a community of customers who love what you do and tell others about it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about building a tribe, a group of people who are passionate about what you do, believe in your mission, and want to be a part of your journey.
It's like starting a movement, a ripple effect that spreads, driven by those passionate customers who really connect with your brand.
Exactly. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, there's one more important aspect of SQLs. I think we should touch on the idea of segmentation.
Segmentation. I've heard the term, but not sure how it applies to sequels. Can you explain that a bit?
Sure. Segmentation is all about dividing your audience into smaller, more focused groups based on common characteristics. And this is super powerful for SQLs because it lets you personalize your communication and tailor your approach to each group's specific needs and what they're interested in.
So instead of treating all sequels the same, we're recognizing that they have different motivations, different challenges, and different paths to making a purchase.
Precisely. And by segmenting our SQLs, we can create more effective marketing campaigns, deliver content that's more relevant, and ultimately increase our chances of turning those qualified leads into paying customers.
It's like having a custom sales strategy for each group instead of a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. And the article gives some really helpful ideas on how to segment your SQLs effectively.
Oh, I'd love to hear more about that. What kind of segmentation strategies did the article recommend?
Well, one common approach is to segment your SQLs by the industry they're in. Like if you're selling software, you might have one group for healthcare companies, another for financial institutions, and another for retail businesses.
So grouping them based on the unique problems and opportunities they face within their specific industries.
Exactly. And by really understanding those nuances, you can adjust your message, your content, and your sales approach to fit each industry.
It's like speaking their language, showing them that you get their world and you're equipped to help them succeed.
You got it. Another effective way to segment is by company size. You might have one group for small businesses, another for mid-sized companies, and another for large enterprises.
So we're recognizing that a small startup with 10 employees has totally different needs and resources compared to a giant corporation with thousands of employees.
Exactly. And by tailoring your approach based on company size, you can better address their specific pain points and offer solutions that fit their budget and their structure.
It's like creating a custom-tailored suit that fits each customer perfectly.
I love that analogy. Another smart way to segment is based on job title or their role in the company. You could have one group for marketing managers, another for sales directors, and another for CEOs.
So we're recognizing that different people within a company have different responsibilities, different things they care about, and different levels of decision-making power.
Exactly. By tailoring your communication to each role, you can more effectively meet their needs and influence their decisions.
It's like having the right key to unlock each door within an organization, helping us build those strong, personalized relationships.
You got it. And by mixing and matching these different segmentation strategies, you can create really targeted groups of SQLs, each with their own unique needs, interests, and journey to making a purchase.
It's like having a superpower, the ability to see through all the noise and connect with each individual on a personal level.
Exactly. And remember, segmentation isn't a one-time thing, it's ongoing. As you learn more about your SQLs, you can tweak your segments, create new ones, and constantly fine-tune your approach to make sure you're delivering the most relevant and valuable experience possible.
So it's not about creating fixed groups. It's about having a system that's dynamic, that changes and adapts as we get to know our customers better.
Precisely. By taking this data-driven, customer-focused approach to segmentation, you can unlock the true potential of your SQLs and get incredible results for your business.
This is all so insightful. I feel like we've uncovered so much valuable information about SQLs, from identifying them to nurturing relationships, segmenting our audience, and using the power of automation. But I have to ask, what's the ultimate goal? Where does all this SQL magic lead?
You've hit the nail on the head. The ultimate goal is to turn those SQLs into not just paying customers, but loyal advocates for your brand. It's about building relationships that go beyond just one transaction, creating a community of customers who love your brand and are excited to tell others about their positive experiences. The article hints at it, but it's worth emphasizing. It's about creating those superfans who become an extension of your sales and marketing team, spreading the word and helping your business grow organically.
It's like creating a ripple effect, a wave of positive energy that spreads outward, fueled by passionate customers who believe in what you do.
Exactly. And this leads to another crucial element of successful SQL management, building a strong reputation for your brand.
Oh, that's an interesting connection. How does brand reputation fit into the world of SQLs?
Think about it. In today's digital world, information is everywhere. Potential customers are doing their homework before they even contact you. They're reading reviews, checking out your social media, forming opinions about your brand based on what they see and hear online.
So even before they become in SQL, they've already got an impression of our company.
Exactly. And if your brand has a good reputation, if people know you for great products or services, awesome customer experiences, being a trustworthy and ethical company, it's going to be much easier to convert those SQLs into paying customers.
It's like having a head start in the race.
Hmm.
You've already built that foundation of trust and credibility, making it easier to close the deal.
You got it. The article mentions a key strategy for building that strong reputation, creating high-quality content that's valuable to your target audience.
So it's not just about pushing our products or services, it's about sharing useful information, insights, and resources that can help people solve their problems and achieve their goals.
Exactly. By positioning yourself as a thought leader, a trusted expert, you're building credibility and authority, which ultimately strengthens your brand's reputation.
It's like becoming the go-to source, the voice people trust for guidance and inspiration.
Exactly. And remember, those social media platforms, they can be incredibly powerful in shaping how people perceive your brand.
Oh, for sure. Social media is like a megaphone, amplifying our message and helping us connect with a much wider audience.
Precisely. By sharing engaging content, interacting with your followers, and showcasing your brand's personality and values, you can create a positive online presence that attracts new customers and reinforces your reputation as a leader.
It's about creating a digital presence that reflects the best of our brand, our expertise, our values, our commitment to great experiences.
Exactly. And remember, those online reviews, they're like gold for building your brand's reputation.
Absolutely. Reviews can make or break a business these days.
Right. Encourage your happy customers to leave positive reviews on sites like Google, Yelp, and industry-specific review sites. You're building social proof, showing potential customers that you're trustworthy, and deliver on your promises.
It's like having a chorus of satisfied customers singing your praises, validating what you say, and building trust with people who are still considering whether to do business with you.
You got it. And remember, building a strong brand reputation isn't a one-time thing. It's about consistently doing what you say you'll do, providing amazing experiences, and being a positive force in the world.
So it's not about marketing hype or clever slogans. It's about walking the walk, living your values, and making a positive impact on the world around you.
Beautifully said. And when you embrace those principles, you'll build a brand that people trust, admire, and want to do business with.
It's about building a brand that people love, a brand that inspires loyalty and advocacy. And that brings us to another important piece of successful SQL management, delivering amazing customer experiences.
Couldn't agree more. Customer experience is the key in today's competitive world. It's what makes you stand out and drives long-term growth.
But what does it actually mean to deliver exceptional customer experiences? Is it about going above and beyond with every interaction, exceeding expectations at every touch point?
It's all that and more. It's about creating a smooth, personalized, and enjoyable experience for your customers from the very first interaction all the way through to buying and beyond.
So it's not just about the product or service itself. It's about the whole journey, the complete experience they have with our brand.
You got it. The article highlights a few key strategies for delivering those great customer experiences, and it all starts with personalization.
Ah, personalization. We've talked about it quite a bit, but I'm curious to hear how it specifically impacts customer experience.
Think about it these days, we're bombarded with generic marketing messages. People crave personalized experiences, things that make them feel seen, heard, and appreciated.
So it's about treating each customer as an individual,
Yeah.
understanding what they need and what they prefer.
Exactly. It can be as simple as using their name in your emails, recommending products based on what they've bought before, or giving them content that matches their interests.
It's about showing them that you're paying attention, that you value their business, and that you're dedicated to creating a unique and positive experience for them.
Exactly. And personalization isn't just about how you communicate. It's about every interaction you have with the customer.
So we're talking about creating a consistent and personalized experience across all channels, online, on the phone, in person, everything.
You got it. And the article really emphasizes the importance of great customer support.
Absolutely. Customer support can make or break a customer relationship. It's often the most human interaction we have with our customers, and it's a chance to really shine.
Exactly. Exceptional customer support is more than just solving problems quickly. It's about empathy, seeing things from the customer's point of view, and going that extra mile to make sure they feel understood and valued.
So it's not just about fixing the issue. It's about building a connection, creating a positive experience, and leaving the customer feeling like they're in good hands.
You got it. And another key point the article brings up is the importance of getting feedback and actually doing something with it.
Feedback. We talked about feedback internally, but getting feedback from our customers is just as important.
Absolutely. Customer feedback is invaluable. It tells you what's working, what's not, and how you can make your products, services, and the whole experience even better.
So it's not just about asking for feedback. It's about listening, really taking it to heart, and making changes based on what we learn.
Precisely. When you create a culture of continuous improvement where you're always looking for feedback and trying to exceed expectations, you build a loyal base of customers who aren't just satisfied, they're truly delighted with your brand.
It's about creating those raving fans we talked about, the
Oh,
customers who are so happy with your brand that they can't help but share their positive experiences with others.
Exactly. And by delivering those exceptional experiences, you're not just building loyalty, you're creating a competitive advantage that's tough to beat.
It's about standing out from the crowd, building a brand that people love, and creating a business that's built to last.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And by making these strategies part of your overall sequel plan, you're setting yourself up for success in the long run.
It's about creating a positive cycle where happy customers lead to more referrals, more positive reviews, and ultimately sustainable growth for your business.
Exactly. And that brings us to our last point for today's deep dive: the importance of measuring whether your SQL efforts are actually successful.
Oh, measurement. We've talked about it a bit throughout our conversation, but I'm always interested in learning more about how to effectively track our progress and make smart decisions based on data.
Well, the article emphasizes that measuring your SQL success is crucial for a couple of reasons. First, it helps you see how you're doing over time, whether your efforts are actually making a difference.
So it's about having clear metrics that tell us if we're on the right track.
Precisely. And second, it helps you pinpoint areas where you can improve and make smarter decisions based on the data you're gathering.
It's like having a compass that guides us toward our goals and helps us make adjustments along the way.
You got it. We've already talked about some key metrics like conversion rates, how long it takes to close a deal, the cost of getting a new customer, and the lifetime value of a customer. But the article highlights a few other metrics that are worth keeping in mind.
I'm definitely interested in hearing more about those. What other metrics should we be paying attention to?
One important one is the number of sequels you're getting from each of your marketing channels. This shows you which channels are best at bringing in those qualified leads, and it helps you decide where to spend your marketing budget.
So it's about understanding which sources are giving us the best leads and focusing on the channels that give us the best return on our investment.
Exactly. Another helpful metric is the average deal size for sequels. This shows you how much revenue you're making from each qualified lead, and it can help you identify opportunities to upsell or cross-sell.
So it's about understanding the value of each sequel and finding ways to maximize that value over time.
Precisely. And lastly, it's important to keep track of how many customers who started as sequels end up leaving, your churn rate. This can help you pinpoint areas where you can improve your customer retention strategy.
So it's not just about getting new customers, it's about keeping those customers happy and engaged so they stick around.
You got it. By keeping track of these metrics and any others that are relevant to your business, you can really understand how well your SQL strategy is performing, find areas to improve, and make data-driven decisions to help your business grow sustainably.
It's like having a dashboard for your whole sales and marketing operation, showing you what's working, what's not, and where those opportunities are.
Exactly. And the article emphasizes using this data to make smart decisions about your SQL strategy. It's not just about tracking the numbers, it's about analyzing them, finding patterns, and using those insights to make your approach even better.
So it's about turning data into actions, using those insights to continuously improve what we're doing.
You got it. And remember those feedback loops we talked about. They're important here too. By getting feedback from your sales and marketing teams, as well as your customers, you can gain valuable perspectives on what's working, what's not, and how you can tweak your SQL strategy to maximize its impact.
It's about fostering a culture where decisions are based on data, and everyone is encouraged to share their insights and help move the business forward.
Couldn't have said it better myself. When you embrace this approach, one that's data-driven and focused on the customer, you can transform your sales and marketing and achieve remarkable results.
This has been an amazing deep dive. We've covered so much, from understanding what SQLs are, to exploring the strategies, tools, and metrics that can help us find them, nurture them, and turn them into loyal, raving fans of our brand. But is there anything else we should be thinking about as we embark on our SQL journey?
That's a great question. The article touches on one final point that I think is crucial: the importance of staying ahead of the game. The world of sales and marketing is constantly changing, with new technologies, new trends, new best practices popping up all the time.
So it's not enough to just learn the basics and then coast. We need to be constantly learning, adapting, and changing our approach as needed.
Exactly. The article suggests a few ways to stay ahead of the curve, starting with continuous learning.
Continuous learning. It seems like that's been a theme throughout our deep dive today.
It has, and for good reason. In today's fast-paced world, if you're not learning, you're falling behind. And that goes for everyone involved in the SQL process: marketing, sales, customer support.
So we need to cultivate a culture of curiosity, experimentation, and continuous learning within our teams.
You got it. The article suggests some specific ways to do that, like going to industry conferences, reading industry publications, taking online courses, and attending webinars and workshops.
So it's about exposing ourselves to new ideas, staying updated on the latest trends, and constantly expanding our knowledge and skills.
Precisely. And it also stresses the importance of networking with other professionals in your field.
Oh, networking. Always a good idea.
It is. Networking lets you connect with others facing similar challenges, swap best practices, and learn from each other's wins and losses.
It's like having a support group, a network of people who get it and are all working towards the same goal.
You got it. The article suggests ways to network effectively, like attending industry events, joining online communities, and connecting with people on social media.
So being proactive, reaching out, and building those relationships that can help us grow personally and professionally.
Exactly. And lastly, the article encourages us to embrace innovation and experimentation.
Ooh, innovation. Always love that.
It is exciting. In the world of sequels, innovation is all about finding new and creative ways to improve our processes, make the customer experience even better, and get better results.
So challenging the status quo, thinking outside the box, constantly looking for ways to do things better.
You got it. The article suggests some ways to encourage innovation within teams, like having brainstorming sessions, making time for experimentation, and rewarding creative thinking.
So it's about creating an environment where people feel comfortable taking risks, trying new things, and pushing the boundaries.
Precisely. By embracing innovation, we can stay ahead of the curve, adapt to the ever-changing landscape of sales and marketing, and make sure our SQL strategy is always evolving and improving.
This has been an absolutely incredible deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from understanding what SQLs are to exploring strategies, tools, and metrics that can help us identify them, nurture those relationships, segment our audience, and leverage the power of automation. And I have to ask, is there anything else we should be thinking about as we embark on our SQL journey?
That's a great question. And this article touches on one last point that I think is worth emphasizing: the importance of always being one step ahead. The world of sales and marketing is constantly changing, with new technologies, new trends, new best practices emerging all the time.
So we can't just learn the basics and coast. We have to keep learning, adapting, and changing our approach as needed.
Exactly. The article recommends a few ways to stay ahead of the curve, starting with continuous learning.
Continuous learning. That sounds familiar. It seems to be a recurring theme throughout our deep dive.
It is, and for good reason. In today's fast-paced world, if you're not learning, you're falling behind. This applies to everyone involved in the SQL process. Marketing, sales, customer support.
So it's about fostering a culture of curiosity, a desire to experiment, and continuous learning within our teams.
You got it. The article suggests some specific ways to encourage that, like attending industry conferences, reading industry publications, taking online courses, participating in webinars, things like that.
So making sure we're exposed to new ideas, staying up to date on the latest trends, and constantly expanding our knowledge base and skill set.
Exactly. And it also highlights the value of networking, connecting with other professionals in your field.
Oh yeah, networking is always a good idea.
Definitely. Networking helps you connect with people who are dealing with the same challenges, share best practices, and learn from each other's successes and, yeah, sometimes failures too.
It's like having a built-in support system, a group of people who get it and are all working towards similar goals.
You got it. The article suggests some ways to make networking really count, like going to industry events, joining online communities, and connecting with people on those social media platforms.
So being proactive, reaching out, and building those relationships that can help us grow both professionally and personally.
Exactly. And finally, the article encourages businesses to really embrace innovation and be willing to experiment.
Innovation's always exciting.
It is. When it comes to sequels, innovation means coming up with new and creative ways to improve our processes, enhance those customer experiences, and ultimately drive better results.
So it's about challenging the way things have always been done, thinking differently, and always looking for ways to make things better.
You got it. And the article suggests a few ways to cultivate that spirit of innovation within teams. Things like encouraging brainstorming sessions, setting aside time for experimenting, and rewarding those who think outside the box.
So we're creating a space where people feel safe taking risks, trying new things, and really pushing the boundaries.
Exactly. By embracing innovation, we can stay ahead of the curve, adjust to the constantly shifting landscape of sales and marketing, and make sure our SQL strategy is always evolving and improving.
Wow, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. We've covered so much ground, from understanding what those sequels are to all the strategies, tools, and metrics that can help us find them, nurture those relationships, segment our audience, and harness the power of automation. It's been fantastic.
It has been great, and I hope our listeners feel empowered to take their SQL game to a whole new level.
I have no doubt they will. You've provided so much valuable information. I'm confident everyone listening is walking away with a clear plan for success and feeling inspired to put it all into practice.
And remember, if you ever feel lost or overwhelmed, just come back to the key things we talked about today. Focus on building genuine relationships, use data to make smart choices, and never stop learning and growing.
Great advice to end on. And with that, we'll say goodbye to our listeners. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the exciting world of sequels. Until next time, happy converting.
Happy converting.